It's Monday, November 20, and this is NHL Rumors. Well, Patrick Kane watch continues. A bit of a surprise. I thought he was going to be heading to Buffalo. It seemed like that was all the word last week, that he would head out on a 2-year deal with the Sabres, but that didn't happen. And of course, there have been rumors he's going to talk with Toronto and other teams. We're not hearing much about that either, so we're wondering where this sits today. Of course, Kane is still rehabbing from a very serious surgery. Hip resurfacing surgery is about the worst you can get. We haven't really seen any players come back from it yet, so it's a big question whether Kane's actually going to be able to return at all. But if he does, and if he's healthy, and if he's one of those few that can return from this surgery, he's going to be a nice add for a team that's looking to go deep. He's going to be available, I think, for maybe less dollars than what was talked about in the Buffalo opportunity. That was $4 million a year for 2 years. I think he's probably going to be much less than that. And it might only be a 1-year deal. We'll see how that plays out as well. You know, he's got lots of cash. He's earned over $115 million in his career, so that's not a concern for Kane. In any case, we're supposed to find out sometime in November. He had said all along he wanted the deal done by the end of November, so we're getting closer, and we'll have to wait and see what happens over the next week or so, but it sounds like something could get done. You know, some of the teams that I think could be in the mix would be the Colorado Avalanche. Clearly, the Carolina Hurricanes could be involved. They'd love to get another scoring forward, and even Dallas or even Los Angeles could be teams that would look at a Patrick Kane. So we'll keep an eye on that one, and for sure we expect to hear something in the next week or so. And hopefully we'll get that one put to bed. Another player that's coming back from hip surgery, of course, is Jesse Puljujärvi. Puljujärvi had the double hip surgery this offseason. Apparently it's going well for him in his rehab in Finland, and he's looking to return sometime in December. Now, Puljujärvi, a little bit of a different situation. He's going to definitely be a low-cost add, and the question is, who would be interested in taking a flyer on Jesse? He has not particularly done well in his last couple of tours, and I think this will be a team that maybe says, hey, we'll give him a shot, and if he can come in and be anything close to the highly regarded prospect that he was when he was drafted, then that would be great. Some of the teams that I think about that might be interested are mostly Western teams, folks like the Anaheim Ducks, the San Jose Sharks, the Arizona Coyotes. All of those guys, I think, would be willing to take on someone like Puljujärvi. Maybe even the Columbus Blue Jackets and a few other teams in the East would consider as well. But he's a player that doesn't have the attraction of a Kane, but certainly might have an opportunity once more to prove that he can play in the NHL. A couple of other guys that are hanging out right now and looking for contracts and get deals done in the next month or so. Ethan Bear has been working out in Kelowna, BC. Apparently, folks are saying that it's coming along quite nicely for Bear. He played injured last year at different points, and that might have led to some of the concerns of his play in Vancouver, but it turns out that Vancouver is one of the teams that may be interested in Bear. A lot of rumors lately that they are going to be having a conversation with Ethan. So if he has a chance to come back with the Canucks, I think that'll be a good move for both teams. He's going to come in as a low-cost add, and of course he already knows their system. So he could be with the Canucks in the near future. Some other teams that may be interested, of course, are looking at blue liners like the Leafs and others, and even the Edmonton Oilers might be an interesting thought. They had Bear before. He played well for them. He was traded for Warren Foegele, you might recall, and I think Bear might be a good add for them. He's a right-shot defenseman. They're always in great demand, and of course he would also feel comfortable playing with the Oilers. So, question of where Bear goes, but we should hear about that fairly soon. Another player that surfaced this past week, we've been talking about him for a while, is Phil Kessell. Kessell, of course, has been cooling his jets, waiting for an opportunity. He apparently is willing to really come in under any kind of a deal just to prove he can play and wants to play some more. So that's good for Phil. The rumor right now is that the Vancouver Canucks may be in the mix, as they are with Bear. The Canucks, of course, have a lot of knowledge of Phil Kessell. Coach Rick Tocchet had Phil in Arizona, and one of the boss men, of course, Jimmy Rutherford, had Phil in Pittsburgh, and in both cases he played very, very well. So we'll have to see exactly what happens with Phil, if he's able to land a deal. And of course, the big challenge always with the Canucks is their cap situation. They're struggling with that now, and apparently the players that would have to leave if Phil's going to have an opportunity are forwards Connor Garland and Anthony Beauvillier. I don't see either one of those going at this point. They've been trying to move Garland for quite a while. So some real work for the Canucks to try to get Phil in, and we'll see how that plays out as well. If we take a look at some of the positions that are really in discussion these days, of course, goalies are right near the top of the list. The Edmonton Oilers struggling tremendously these days with their goaltending, and they've been trying to make something happen for a while. There was a rumor last week that they were trying to do something with St. Louis for Jordan Binnington, but I don't think that was much. I think that was more smoke than fire. Another couple of goalies that could show up in the mix, though, would be someone like Jake Allen with the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, the Canadiens holding 3 goalies currently on their roster, and trying to make a deal to get something happen. And the rumors are that Sam Montembeault is about to sign an extension. So I don't think he's in the mix, and I don't see them moving Caden Primo. So Jake Allen would be the goalie that's available. He's off to a pretty good start this year, 3.21 goals against average and a 915 save percentage. So I think Allen would be a good add in any team. So we'll see if the Oil might be interested in Allen. And of course, another guy that I think of a lot who might be available is Peter Mrazek. He's off to a great start with the Blackhawks. Mrazek, of course, he has a couple of tough seasons, but seems to have found his way with Chicago. He's off to a great start, as I mentioned, 2.89 goals against average and a 914 save percentage on a team that doesn't have the best defense. So clearly, he's playing well. And the games that I've seen him and the highlight reels that I've seen of Mrazek are quite impressive this year. So I think he'd be a great guy for someone to go after. Maybe the Oil will think about Mrazek. Another team that could get in the goalie discussion, of course, is the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs struggling with their goaltending tandem of Samsonov and Wall, and they are definitely looking for some help. But it's a tough one. All these teams struggling with cap issues, so I'm not sure exactly how it's going to happen. It's going to be dollars in and dollars out. And we'll have to see if there's an opportunity there as well. Now, looking at the defensive course, again, lots of discussion on the blue lines. Toronto, as I mentioned, have some challenges on their blue line. They're definitely looking to try to do something. They've been in discussion with Calgary for quite a while. Of course, Zadorov and of course, Tanev are the 2 guys that seem to be getting most of the attention. Both of those guys, of course, key to Calgary, and the Flames have been playing much better lately. They're 4-1-1 in their last 6. So I think that discussion has cooled off quite a bit. I'm not sure there's going to be anything happening between the Flames and other teams in the near future. I suspect most of this is going to wait till the trade deadline. Okay, so what's going to happen then would be maybe the Leafs will talk to Columbus again. I've been talking about Columbus for a long time. They've got several defensemen available, apparently, and of course, they're lingering near the bottom of the league, so would love to get some prospects and some draft picks and send some of these guys packing. Of course, Andrew Peeke is one of them. Jesper Boqvist is another one. And of course, you've got Gudbranson and Jake Bean as other guys who are available out of Columbus. So could there be a deal done there? Not sure. Toronto really dragging their heels, partially because of the cap situation. Now, if they do put defenseman John Klingberg on long-term injured reserve, then they'll have some cash to play with, and maybe they can pull one of these deals off. So lots of discussion going on. Of course, teams are really trying to make something happen before the end of the year. It's generally conceded that the teams that are in the playoffs going into the new year are the ones that generally make it. So there are teams that are pushing hard to try to get back into the mix, and we'll see if they can make anything happen. You know, the big discussion is always around the cap. As you take a look at some of these cap numbers, courtesy of Puckpedia, man, I'll tell you, the teams that have cap space are not the ones that are pushing hard for the cup. The only one in the top 10 that I think is a serious cup contender is the Carolina Hurricanes, and they've got a couple of million to play with. But you move over to the other chart, which are the teams that are really up against the cap and have no room at all. Boy, I tell you, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Colorado Avalanche, the Vegas Golden Knights, I can go up and down the list. They're all up there against the cap. So any deals they do, anybody they want to bring in, it's going to have to be cash out and cash in, and that's going to be a tough deal for them to put together. So we'll see how it all plays out. Lots of action in the rumor mill as usual. And I want to thank you for joining, and please subscribe if you can. Any comments down below, and we'll keep you totally up to date on all the latest rumors right here on stormTRacker.